Hi, I'm Eliézer Ndinga, Director of Research at 21 Shares. I'm very excited today to bring on more positivity. We're towards the end of the year. 2022 is almost past us. But I want to discuss about some of the key lessons that we learned from last year. And I'm going to really focus on three main predictions that we got right last year. Bear in mind that 18 months ago, these predictions were not actually very obvious. And that's interesting because today we would always take some of these applications and infrastructure players for granted. And the ones that we got right from last year were Polygon, Arweave, and the threat of operating systems. It's going to be a very brief explainer, but last year, especially at the beginning of the year, with the rise of Polygon, and at that time it was the Matic Foundation, we're seeing the potential of many Ethereum-based applications to move away from Ethereum and implement themselves on Polygon for providing cheaper gas fees, so transaction costs, but most importantly, processing the transactions a lot faster than it is possible on the Ethereum blockchain at that time. And that's interesting because fast forward to 18 months now, we're seeing that there are various players, very respected in the world, that leverage the Polygon blockchain. For example, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, so the regulator and also the Central Bank of Singapore, because that's the same entity, is leveraging the Polygon blockchain to tokenize their assets. And what happened is that they tokenized the Japanese yen alongside the Singapore dollar directly on the Polygon blockchain using a modified version of lending protocol called Aave. The second thing that is very big coming out of the Polygon ecosystem is the fact that NFTs on Instagram would be available but directly on the Polygon blockchain as well. And that's really exciting for Polygon, absolutely. And that's a testament to the fact that we've seen many developer teams using the blockchain in order to build smart contracts and innovate there. And that's why the growth of Polygon developer teams increased by more than 300% year to date. So the second thing is Arweave. So Arweave tries to be the Amazon Web Services that is decentralized, censorship resistant, and most importantly, permissionless. And that's very important because when it comes to the intelligence of the internet, when it comes to the storage of metadata or classified documents, that's very important to rely on a neutral infrastructure. And that's exactly what we've seen on Arweave from this year, when we've seen classified documents, blog posts, and videos from the war between Ukraine and Russia. When it started back in late February this year, many people were actually using the infrastructure of Arweave in order to classify some of these documents to make sure that not a single hacker or entity could try to tamper that specific information. And last year, what we said is that amidst the rise of NFTs, especially around the end of the year, so Q4 last year, we've seen many NFTs where some of them were actually stored on the Amazon Web Services stack. And it was, of course, one of the major issues, especially, for example, the metadata of your NFT, like a JPEG, or it could be also like a music NFT, because NFTs are having different shapes right now. It could be a major issue if you cannot actually access your metadata anymore. And of course, we were not able to predict the humanitarian aspect of how important Arweave has been this year, especially for the many people in need, to make sure that the intelligence and the evidence of the war can be actually available for everybody and stored in a neutral infrastructure. And then the last thing that we talked about in our State of Crypto magazine from Q1 last year, specifically on Web3, was presenting the threats of operating systems. So for any Web3 applications that want to make themselves available on the App Store or the Google Play, they would basically face restrictions if the company behind the App Store or Google Play, so basically Apple or Samsung, or having specific terms and services or against the adoption of Web3. And that's exactly what we've seen. Fast forward to 18 months later, when essentially the latest version of Coinbase Wallet is actually not accessible on the App Store because they do not enable crypto payments for specifically NFTs, and they impose a 30% tax on the potential gas cost to process the transactions. We're definitely seeing that looking at the market in a way to understand where this space is headed is very important for this space. And that's why we're super excited about our next magazine on our market outlook for 2023. So you have to stay tuned, but first sign up to our newsletter and our research on our website, so 21shares.com. But last and certainly not least, none of that is financial advice. But looking forward to have you on our list, and feel free to reach out on Twitter or by email if you have any questions. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.